Mark Mulgrew on 107.8 Black Diamond FM.
The sun shone on the meadows, I could hear the children play. All my 1,000 natural shocks would visit me this day. Too soon for me to lose this game. And too young to feel this pain. You run in my veins until you find me a river that refuses to run. Until you find me a river that refuses to run. Your finished body on the bed I laid. The loneliest man in the world, I walked away. You run in my veins till you find me a river that refuses to run. Till you find me a river that refuses to run. Till you find me a river that refuses to run. Till you find me a river that refuses to run.
And that's my first track from my second guest of the day, Ged Hanley. Good afternoon, Ged.
Hi there, pal. Nice to see you again.
And you.
Thank you.
And, well, I was going to say, you've arrived in the metropolis of Midlothian, but you're a Midlothian man.
I'm a Midlothian man. I've had to travel all of a mile and a half to get here.
Oh, for goodness sake.
From up in Gorebridge. I emigrated for Rosewell.
So, you are a local man. You're Ged Hanley. You are a full-time musician, singer, songwriter,
yes,
extraordinaire.
That's right. And Grandad, as I was saying, to be Farah.
And Grandad as well. A change in life.
Yes, I am. Aye.
Now, it's quite ironic because we were talking off air, but we were talking about things that I was talking to the first guest today, Donna Glass, about. And we were talking about actually Midlothian and East Lothian, and we were talking about the days when we had the pits.
Yep.
You left school. You became a miner. You went.
I attended the pits. I wouldn't say. I don't know if I was, because the miners are a great class of people. I mean, the real miners, the square-jawed, strong guys that actually hacked the coal themselves. I mean, when I went to the pits, it was mechanised. Still a horrible place to work when I look back. I mean, but in your teens, I never knew, any better. It was some of the happiest days. The crack, the jokes.
Yep.
It's probably, I think, the camaraderie is closest you'll ever get to maybe, like a trench and, where you're in really quite dire conditions with stour, water coming in on you, poor air quality, working beside these massive big machines. I mean, inches off you, a big shearer churning and things like that. So, it was some of the happiest times in my life.
Some of the happiest times, but probably one of the most dangerous times of
I was
your life.
unaware of it at the time.
Yeah, health and safety and all that. I can
I
imagine.
could tell. I better not get myself in trouble if I tell some of the health and safety stories. But there you go.
So, I mean, but we're here to talk about music, but
Yeah.
but it's quite important to talk about your time in the pits, because in 1984 there was the national strike.
84, yeah.
And that was when you started playing music. That was when you
Well,
got
I'd
involved.
actually, I'd been playing music for a while before. I was born into the vibrant social club scene, as you well understand, you know what I mean, that employed, literally thousands of musicians and singers, work for cabaret for all over Britain. And I was lucky enough to be born into that. Now, not just your type of music, but as you know, brass bands came out the mining community, the pipe bands as well. So I was, born into that. I used to go and see bands, played a bit of guitar, got me up to sing. They call it open mics, and I used to be a sing-song. You know what I mean? And learned off you would get tips off guitarists that played in bands and things like that. So I was at these, gigs all the time looking for influences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, I went to the pits, I worked in the pits, so, that was a communication network as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's on at Eastus is tonight, you know what I mean? What's on at Rosewell Club. So it was a great scene.
So during the strike, obviously, it was a time when there was great hardship on
was
everybody.
terrible, aye.
And but you found a bit of a release through the music as well.
Well, I lasted the year strike, but I would never kid anybody on. I was having an income through music, and I on my job on the strike committee was to take care of people who were in dire need, maybe an ill child that needed a blanket. I went on a wee training course for the social security, and I had to do all the paperwork. So I saw the dire consequences that Thatcher had thrust these fine men that without them, we wouldn't have had industry, we wouldn't have steam, we wouldn't have steel. Modern world should thank the miners, because we wouldn't be here without them. And but I learned that I could live. I was always scared to leave a full-time job, and in a way, that made me think. Right after the strike, the situation was terrible. With miner no speaking to miner, they'd split them, and it was in the same place. And I left, and I've been full-time in music ever since.
So you went away to New York in 1985.
Yeah, round about New York. I'd worked sort of locally and done things, and then I had a friend in New York that invited me over. Went over at the music scene there. I auditioned for a few bands, and I got into a band called Look People, who had a record contract.
Yep.
Flew me to Switzerland, and the whole thing was rock and roll. It absolutely imploded on itself due to too much alcohol, not being able to make it to the recording studio in time, infighting, classic Spinal Tap.
Oh dear. So it was the real rock and roll story.
It wasn't, I'll tell you. New York, my son Mark lives there with his lovely daughter Anna, and there wasn't a Castling machine, there wasn't a mobile phone. I mean, you really felt far away.
Yeah.
I ran out of money, ended up having to bus on the the underground, which you didn't need a license for then. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
To get money. It was a real experience, and a dangerous place at that time as well. I mean, I don't think it's as dangerous as it is now, but with no health. You needed health insurance. There were people who were mentally ill, able to hold arms, roaming around the streets.
Yeah.
So we'd get in at night in places that had been out during the day. There had been a shooting, 4 people killed, just a couple of hours after, you had been there.
Quite a bizarre sort of lifestyle, I suppose.
It's still a bit mental. I go every year, but I didn't think, maybe I was just younger and more scared, but
Yeah.
I didn't think it is as bad.
So we're going to come back after some of your music, and we're going to talk about what happened after that,
Yep.
and where things went. But you're going to give us a wee song just now.
I am. I've done a version of the Candy Stanton song, Young Hearts Run Free.
Interesting.
A wee acoustic version. So here we go. What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? Ending up just another lost and lonely wife. You count up the years, and they will be filled with tears. Love only breaks up to start over again. You'll have the babies, but you won't have the man, while he's busy loving every woman that he can. Say you're gonna leave 100 times a day. It's easier said than done when you just can't break away. You just can't break away. Oh, young hearts, run free. Never be hung up like my man and me. It's high time, just one crack at life. Who wants to live in trouble and strife? My mind must be free to learn all I can about me. I'm gonna love me for the rest of my days. Encourage the babies every time they say self-preservation is what's going on today. Say I'm gonna turn loose 1,000 times a day, but how can I turn loose when I just can't break away? I just can't break away. Oh, young hearts, run free. Never be hung up like my gal and me. Oh, young hearts, to yourself be true. Don't be no fool when love really don't love you. Don't love you, don't love you, don't love you.
Waiting, I was waiting for you. I waited such a long time, thinking you and me. Heartbeat, I could hear your heartbeat, walking your way to me, thinking you were mine. Now it's too late. Too late. It's too late, too late, too late to save this dying thing. Too late, too late, too late to save this dying thing. And I die inside. Liar, you're nothing but a liar. Is this nothing special? Is this nothing at all? Heartbeat, well I could hear her heartbeat, working her way to me, but you stole it all. Now it's too late. Too late. Too late.
That's too late, and well, I was a bit early coming in. That's too late.
There's another bit still to come.
I was watching the countdown, Jed. If you have just tuned in, that was Ged Hanley, and that was recorded a number of years ago when you were back doing your recording stuff.
Yeah, well, when I came back from America, broke and everything like that, we got I'd had a band together called Watch With Mother before I went away, an indie band, and then we sort of got the musicians back together, and then we started playing in what was called the Lord Darnley.
Oh, I remember it well.
We're up Pivot. So there was basically that band named themselves the Rain Kings and made a CD.
Do you know something? You've just told me something, right, that I never knew. And I used to come and see you guys.
Really?
Many moons ago, yeah.
It was busy. It was a bit of a cult following. We had actually, before that band, Rab was playing in there with Andy Monroe, and the band that finally sort of joined them, me, Laurie Ball, Ali Wilson, Roy Martin, played in the Bonnerig Snooker Club on a Sunday afternoon, and that was cult as well in this local area. I mean, there were queues right along the road to get into that on a Sunday afternoon. And then I joined Andy Monroe, he left, the drummer joined, Laurie Ball and Roy Martin, and as you know, the Lorne Darnley went for years as a cult. Sort of,
yes,
there was a
it
big
did.
protest, remember,
Yes,
made in
it
the
did,
news.
and then it became the Cash Rock, I think.
Cash Rock, right.
Yeah.
And then some kind of Latin place, the dance.
Before they knocked the whole building down.
That's right.
Not very nice. Now, I mean, you've worked with a few people over the years as well. I mean, you worked with Tam White, who was obviously known for his days with the Bay City Rollers.
No, that was Tom Payton. No,
Oh,
Tom
sorry.
Payton was the
I'm
blues.
reading the wrong thing here.
Aye.
Sack the researcher.
I used to do session work for Palladium Studio up in Lone Head, and they had a producer in one day. I was working on a BBC thing called Wreck on the Highway that featured Tam, and the story roughly was that he was a sort of phenomenon in his younger day. He was back in Edinburgh, he was washed up, and his old girlfriend came to meet him, and who was Lynn Anderson of I Beg Your Pardon,
Yes.
I Never Know. So
Everybody knows the song, nobody knows her name.
Lynn Anderson, who sadly died last year, and Tam's away now as well. So I was doing these recordings up in Lone Head for this show, and here the producer was in and said, would you like a part in it to play the young Tam White? So there I was acting in this thing as well, but I working with Tam and Lynn Anderson on Wreck on the Highway, it was called.
Brilliant stuff. And you moved on with that as well. I mean,
Yep.
you moved on because a few years later you were away on tour with quite a well-known band in Scotland.
Aye, Runrig. At their peak, without blowing one trumpet, it was the peak year. They decided to put a backing sort of band together, and there was myself, Liz McEwen, you know Liz?
Yes.
And another guy, Londoner, I can't remember. And it was the guy that I'd worked with for the BBC, a guy called Steve Harley, Steve Rainbow. His stage name was, sadly, he was a lovely, lovely man. And he phoned me and said, you know, we're looking for this setup to put up. He was the MD for Runrig. And I said, I'll need to check my diary, I don't know about that. And so I had done a few years, done some, you know, the Barrowlands and big gigs in
Glasgow Royal Concert Halls here.
Yeah. Well, that's with the Malleys, actually.
That's another band that you play in, because, again, I've just learned something new. You told me off air. Tell us a bit about the Malleys.
Well, the Malleys were a studio project, sort of a folk, Irish kind of folk band. But we recorded a song, and we were friends with a guy within the Celtic Football Club who wanted to play it at the park.
Yeah.
And it's called Let the People Sing. It's, you know, it's not in any way a religious song. It was just an old Irish folk song. And that, as you know, is one of the main songs that they sing. And we've performed live at Celtic Park in front of 60,000 people, and they took us to Ireland for Player of the Year awards. And
you've also performed at Tynecastle Park, which was clearly a few less.
That was when they won the league. That was a project put together by Kenny Herbert, who Davy Payton, one of the nicest guys in the music business in Scotland, for what Davy's achieved as a humble, lovely guy. But he's a big Heart supporter as well.
You talk about it, and rap out as well. You talk about these guys. Kenny was on the show a couple of weeks ago,
Aye.
and Davey's been on the show, and you're right. We mentioned it on Kenny's show. You know, Davey Payton, one of the nicest guys in the industry for somebody who's achieved so much.
CV is crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it's really Elton John, Kate Bush. You know, written a couple of number ones, and he would never ever mention it.
So I know you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You would walk by him on the street if you didn't recognise that cheeky wee smile. Now we've played a couple of your songs, and who wrote these songs?
I wrote them.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about your songwriting then.
Well, I've been writing for years, and you know, we, at the beginning it was a really difficult thing to record. We've just been speaking about that. You know, you have to go to a recording studio, which weren't cheap because the equipment was, you know. Anyway, so as the technology improved, you know, the first 2 tracks you've done are all played with live musicians, and the last track that you'll play is live as with musicians as well. But I played it all myself because I now have my own studio set up. In fact, I'm just building a new studio now. But writing and recording must be for 37 years. I don't know. And I, as I said to you before I came, I do not have one of my products in my house. There you go. That's so much of an ego I've got. I had to phone round people to get these tracks, and I must have recorded maybe over 60 tracks.
Now you've done a load of stuff. You've played in some big venues. You regularly play in a club in Edinburgh.
That's right.
With a resident band on a Saturday and a
That's
Sunday.
right, that's right.
And but you still do your pub gigs. You still do the.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. One has to eat. A lot of the bigger stuff, things and people move on. I'm saying there like Chris Rainbow, you know what I mean? When they're in charge, and I think probably any musician, you know, would say that once your contacts move on, you move back to your bread and butter, and that's exactly where I am. I mean, I played down at Newton Grange Day Centre for the elderly. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm in there working there. I do local pubs with my mate Malky Bathgate. Doing open mics and acoustic sessions. I have a sort of rock band with Simon McGlynn on drums and Stephen Fraser on bass. That plays Whistle Binkies.
Yep.
And I work a lot with local youth, encouraging and all arts, drama, dance, music, things like that. Initiatives that the council run or everything like that.
Giving something back, Ged.
Trying to anyway. I think it's important. You know what I mean? That it's encouraged. I think they get a bad name, and there's loads of talent in the youth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loads of talent.
Now, steering away from youth, we're back to you. You're going to give us another song. What are you going to give us now?
Yes, I am. This is a song that I came over lately by my friend Malky Bathgate that I work with, but it's an old Scottish song. And I've begun to look more at Scottish music and Scottish folk music. This is just one of the saddest songs I've ever heard. It's called the Lochte Boat Song. And it's a song about being chucked. And there's a line in it, my heart's a boat in tow, and I just think we've all been there, do you know what I mean?
Right, I'm not going to do the sound on this, I'm away for a great.
Right. Okay then, the Lochte Boat Song. When I've done my work of day, and I row my boat away, down the waters of Lochte, as the evening light is fading, and I look upon Benlore, where the afterglory glows, and I think of 2 bright eyes and a melting mouth below. She's my beauteous neon route, she's my joy and sorrow too, and although she's been untrue, well, I cannot live without her, for my heart's a boat in tow, and I'd give the world to know why she means to let me go, as I sing hurry, hurro. neon through your lovely hair has more glamour, I declare, than all the tresses rare between Killin and Aberfeldy, be they lint, white, brown or gold, be they blacker than the sloe, they are worth no more to me than the melting flake of snow. Her eyes are like the gleam o' the sunlight on the stream, and the songs that fairies sing seem like the songs she sings at milking. But my heart is full of woe, for last night she bade me go, and the tears begin to flow as I sing hurry-hurro. She's my beauteous neon rue, she's my joy and sorrow too, and although she's been untrue, well, I cannot live without her, for my heart's a boat in tow, and I'd give the world to know why she means to let me go as I sing hurry-hurro.
And when the rains set and the sky is darker than sin, when our backs are to the wall, we stand tall. When they part our demise, we shall rise. We shall rise. Rise, rise.
And that's another song. That one's called Rise from Ged Hanley. Great stuff, Ged.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Very patriotic song.
It is. It's about the Yes campaign and Scottish people to rise. Although that's as far as I'll go.
Yes, but it's not a political show. But no, but you were actually quite active in the campaign as well, weren't you?
Well, I support and go to fundraisers for Hope Over Fear, and but I'd say I'm more a socialist than
Mark Mulgrew, Mr.
than anything
Entertainment.
else. So they welcome it, Corbyn, anything like that. Is
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interject with it. I just played one of my jingles over the
Oh,
top.
did you? All right.
Some people may think that was me trying to interrupt
I
you.
think that usually I try to influence the debate there. Aye.
Now, we had a conversation off here, but you finished off in the last segment talking about the youth and the work that you do with the youth. And you sort of touched on it earlier on when we were talking off here, and you were talking about education. And nowadays you can get a qualification, a music qualification, but one of the modules is how to pack your van properly.
I heard that one of the, sound like an old man, but I mean, when I started out, you got a van and you packed the van and, went to gig and you learn how to set up your own stuff. So I heard that one of the modules in the music courses, of course there were no music courses available, is how to pack a van. But it is a science, we just said that. It is a science.
And of course you actually went back into education as well, a bit later in
That's right, after sort of things downturned a bit, and as I say, people that you knew and places influence left and younger people came in, I went and done all my levels and hires that I'd never done at school, and then I went to Edinburgh and done a master's arts degree at Edinburgh, and then I done an HNC in stagecraft and music, and then done a lot of work in the local community, some fantastic musical and dance projects within the local community.
So, I mean, as we said, giving something back after so many years of music being good to you, and obviously, you fell on hard times
So
when it was New York as well.
Hard times, yeah. Going working on a tip, picking up papers on a tip. That was the most stressful job I ever had in life.
Oh well, at least it was above ground.
Oh, aye, that's true.
As compared to down the mines. So people can regularly see if they want to go to the Edinburgh Masonic Club on a
That's right,
Saturday night and
Sunday.
Sunday night.
Yeah.
You can see you with the band there.
That's right. That's aimed at a market, couples, older couples, and that. I do Bannerman's on a Sunday. That's more a rock and covers set up, and I do the Laird and Dog on every second Thursday night, and the Royal Oak. Also play in the Royal Oak acoustic solo in the Royal Oak.
So people can see you locally.
If they would like to, yeah.
If they would like to. I'm sure after hearing more about you today and hearing your music,
So time to make a comeback, Mark.
well, it's been good enough for some acts who've been younger than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people would say in my life I'm a bit ageist, but no, I'm getting to that age now where people might not be booking me because I'm getting a wee bit old. So, well, you just need to.
Well, just move into the Highland Scottish market. Then
You just need
get
to
a
get
kilt,
on,
Mark. Get a kilt.
Oh, yeah, it may be a big one. Now, I always ask everybody, Ged, and you've got a vast amount of experience, going back right from 1984 all the way through. There are loads of...
Before 70, probably, I think I done my first wee gig in 1976. There you go.
There you go.
Wasn't paid, but it was the first time I done it.
Well, that's it, and you took that stage to go out and say, right, okay, I'm going to play music and I'm going to do that. You do the work with younger people and try and encourage them. What advice would you give people who would want to get involved in this game?
I think we live in an era where I can genuinely say that I got into music for music itself. I loved it. My first ever record was the Monkees, the Roy Orbison riff on Pretty Women. I wanted to do that, and but what I see with the likes of X Factor and everything is people using music as a means to an end to be famous. I don't think you'll get any longevity if you go down that road. You have to love and be passionate what you do.
I've said this before in the show, but there was an interview that Rod Stewart gave, and he says, for many years, he says, I had to work my way through pubs, clubs, and all these different places in order to get a recording contract to become famous and then end up on the TV. So now it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. And if they're not prepared to graph, I mean, I'm a working musician, and I take my hat off to all the working musicians in Edinburgh and this, and like yourself, we're averaging maybe 4 gigs a week, 52 weeks of the year. Bands go on tour for 6 months, and they play every night, or get to over the years, done thousands and thousands of gigs. We're just tradesmen like a joiner. I look at myself, whatever,
Yep.
like that. That's it's not for any ego or anything. I have a lovely family that, is more important to me than fame or fortune. Who I'd like to say hello to: Natalie, Martin, Mark, and Simone. And
Do you
so
know
I
what's,
would say,
do you know what's
be
scary? You
passionate.
actually had their names written down on a bit of paper.
I did. Yeah, no. He's lying, guys. And also my lovely partner, Louise. But no, I'd say to anybody, if you're not passionate, if you're not really going to give 100%, especially when you're young and without a family,
Yep.
you only do it.
You clearly still enjoy it, Ged.
I love it. I love what I do.
Yep. I can see that. Now you're going to give us another wee song to finish off. What are you going to give us to finish?
It's another sort of, well, there's always a debate about this song. It's called Wild Mountain Time. Are you familiar with the song?
Very.
Go Lassie Go, as some people call
Very.
it. And some people say it's an Irish song, and some people say it's a Scottish song. So I got off the hook by saying the music was written by an Irishman, the lyrics by a Scotsman. But don't ask me who they were.
Good stuff.
Oh, the summertime is coming, and the leaves are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pick wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? I will build my love a bower by yon clear crystal fountain, and around it I will pile all the wild flowers o'er the mountain. Will ye go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pick wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pick wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? Will ye go, lassie, go? Will ye go, lassie, go?
That's Ged Hanley. Ged, it just leaves me to say thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, playing a live session in the studio. Great to hear about the stuff that you've done over the years, and all the very best for everything else that you do.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure. Thank you.